So good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, and welcome to the Virtual Heroes series. Look at that, I nearly forgot what I was doing. It's the Virtual Heroes series, and I am the VA confidence coach. And today I am delighted to introduce you to Steph Humphrey. She is a general VA, but she specializes in recruitment and customer service. So that's going to be interesting. She's based in Cheshire, Cheshire, yeah, I've got it. And do welcome Steph to the Virtual Hero series. Would you like to say hi?
Hi, thank you for having me.
So it's been a really warm day today. I have my office windows closed because the neighbors are being really noisy. The sun is shining, so if the sweat starts, peeling down, it's just because it feels like a sauna in here. But welcome. So one of the reasons why I've started this vodcast is to showcase how wonderful VAs are and how much they help the self-employed or business community. But one thing that I've come across over the years of networking and talking to VAs is the misconceptions that is with VAs or that people think about VAs. So I wanted to know, have you come across any of that, Steph, since you've started?
In a nutshell, no, to be completely honest. However, I do feel like they sometimes, companies do sometimes see you as an extension of their employers, the team, which is great because that's what you are ultimately, but not at the same level. You are still responsible for your work, you're still responsible for your hours. However, if you want to work a 4-day week, you shouldn't have to justify why you're taking the Friday or the Monday off. But I mean, I do it. If I need to go out for a couple of hours, I do explain why, which I just think it's courtesy. But
I guess it's just letting, like you said, if you're working 4 days for a certain company, then you sort of having to explain, well, actually, I'm taking Friday off because I just want to go chill by the seaside or go for a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, to be honest, if that was going to be the norm, then you would put that in your terms and conditions. Outside of these hours, I don't work, or I only work a 4-day week, and you would just let people know in advance so that it's not such a shock come Thursday evening when you say, right, okay, that's me off for 3 days. And they're a bit like, pardon, what?
But don't you normally have set hours of the week that you are helping them, or do they just sort of have you as and when they need you? And
so I work with a couple of clients, one of which is very ad hoc. They will email me. Granted, it's throughout office hours, which is great, but then it's my choice as to when I complete the work. Another client, it is purely and simply office hours, between, I log on at 8:00 sometimes, but that's a preference for me. I would rather get their work done so that if I need to pop out and pick the kids up or something, I've got that freedom. But it's not a given, it is as and when. It depends on the workload, the turnaround that they're expecting, and how urgent their requirement is for their work.
And I mean, one of the reasons why so many VAs start their business is so that they have the flexibility. They can make their own hours. They work when it suits them. They can pop out, like you said, pick up the kids or do stuff that needs to be done and not have this commitment of going into an office and working 8 till 5 as an employee, but rather have a business that runs around what suits you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is a land acquisition manager that I work with, but he has one user for his software. So for me, logging on after 8:00 at night is what I do. Granted, I don't always appreciate working till 10:00 at night, but so it is just the way of the world at times. It's not a 9 till 5 job at times, and it is what you make it. And it's like, if I want a couple of hours and I want a tea with my children, or I want to watch a film with them, I can take that time out, not feel guilty about it, because I know that later on in the evening, I've got that time and I can recoup that and do it then.
And like you said, it's getting the job done around the time that suits you, but still within time that the client is happy that they're done. And I guess most of the times they don't really mind if you do it at 10 at night or 10 in the morning, as long as it's done.
Yeah, definitely. As long as you are meeting their deadlines, and you're not delivering late, because then it doesn't look good on you as a company, as a business, and it doesn't look good on them if they're having to deliver it elsewhere either.
So the one thing that when you said that the one client that you have is sort of like you having Friday off, why? So the misconception there would be that you are an employee as opposed to a VA that has been brought in to do a specific job. But you said that communicating is a way that you can sort of get around that. Yeah,
I think communication is the biggest it is the biggest thing in the relationship between client and virtual assistant. It really is. You have to be open and honest. There's no point in saying, oh, I'll be about for an hour or two, when actually, you don't have any intention of it. I do just believe in being completely transparent and being upfront. And then I think it builds a much longer lasting relationship, especially if there's trust involved in that.
And communication is one great way of building trust, and they will start to learn the way you like to work. You start to learn how they like to work. And if you've got this communication, it becomes a symbiotic relationship, which can then help each other.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, though, if you become, renowned for answering emails at 9-10 o'clock at night, it just becomes the norm. A client will expect that. Whereas on a one-off, you might say, oh, I just happened to be checking my emails and I came across this. But yeah, I do feel like it is a little bit of give and take at times, but yeah, communication is key.
Definitely. And I mean, in any industry, communication is key, or any relationship, communication is so important.
Yeah.
So what's got you started as a VA?
So I've spent the last 8 years in education. I've spent 7.5 years in primary, working with children with additional needs and supporting them to meet their targets. And then I went to a high school, and it was a different kettle of fish. It really was. And I mean, whilst I loved education, I really did. And I thought I was going to be in it forever. There was a few issues that I needed to be home for, at a specific time, and it just started to clash. So I've previously been a VA. In 2012, I did it for a couple of years whilst my children were really little, because I didn't ever want to be financially dependent on my husband, and it just worked, So I love all things admin, organisation, recruitment of staff, onboarding processes, speaking to people. That's what I'm happy doing. So for me to go back into something that I enjoyed, that gave me the flexibility to still be a part and play a big part in my kids' lives as well, that was essential for me, and I think that was the driving force as well, is I wanted them to be proud of their mum. So that they could see me working hard and achieving what I've set out to do.
And this is great, like you said, it's a great role model for your kids to see that they can have their own business as well. They can follow something they're passionate about, or they can just do something that they would like to enjoy, because not everybody does enjoy the admin organization stuff. And this is why it's great to have VAs, because they are a bit weird that way. They like this weird organization admin stuff. But this is it, is they have these fantastic skills like you do, and you enjoy it, you're passionate about it, you know how to do it, you can do it most probably in half the time it would take me to do it, or does take me. And this is why VAs are so crucial to business. So what are some of the common stumbling blocks you've come across or you've seen other VAs come across who are starting or within a VA business?
I would say the biggest hurdle that, as you know, setting yourself up as a VA needs to overcome is where and how you go about getting clients. It's about building a network of people that understand what you do, but again, it's about communicating clearly what you do. But there's so many different social media platforms. You could spend all day on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, promoting your services. And if you're not promoting them to the right people, you're not going to be drawing in the traffic, the clients. So yeah, for me, and I think as well for other VAs, it would be the getting of clients that's the biggest hurdle. People mention taxes, and instantly you're a bit like, oh, HMRC and things. That for me, setting myself up as self-employed was a walk in the park. That was fine. Understanding what bodies need to be involved in, your registration and the ICO and insurances that you need to have, that's also, I think, something that is really overlooked, when in actual fact it's there to support you and to support your clients. So it's really something that needs to be considered, and a lot of research needs to be done prior to going into it, so at least you've got a much better idea and a much better understanding of what is involved.
And that's really good advice about the insurance and ICOs and really needing to do research. So just for anybody who doesn't know, what is an ICO?
So it protects you with your, bear with me. Oh, Natalie.
Isn't that something to do with GDPR? It's you've got, because you hold clients' information.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah,
that's all right.
Yeah.
That's fine.
There are so many there's different tiers as well. And as a rule of thumb, like I am a tier 1, obviously how you are holding clients' information and how you're using that information is really key. Data breaches and things like that really shouldn't be happening. Making sure you're backing up your data, and it's got to be secure is the main thing. Clients need to put their trust in you, and you need to make sure that that you're doing that properly. So yeah, sorry, a complete mind blank there.
That's fine. Don't apologize. That's why we do this together. It's it is about just sharing. And if somebody really wants to know, Google's a great thing. Just Google ICO.
Yes.
And then we'll get different tiers. Now, I didn't know about the different tiers. I only found out about ICOs recently from another VA, and but I didn't know about the different tiers. So you see, you've taught me something today as well. So
yeah, different tiers rack up different payments as well for the year. So like I said, I will be in tier 1. So I think that equates to something like £35-40 for the year, which in the grand scheme of things, when you're considering security and clients' information, it really is, a drop in the ocean for that. So yeah.
And again, it's really good advice, especially starting out, is do research, really find what you need, speak to other VAs who can help you or point you in a direction. Because the wonderful thing within the VA industry is you guys are also different. So you might do admin, but you all do different bits of admin, and you do it differently, and you have different personalities. So you can't work with everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you don't want to work with everybody.
No, exactly. But you know what? You say that there's so many different types of VAs out there. There is, but in comparison to some industries, seems to be no secrets. Nobody's holding on to this information as if to say, no, that's mine, and I'm not going to tell you. Everybody I've come across so far has been so helpful, and you're not seen as a competitor. It's in that sense, it's really good. You're there to support each other. And there are so many different networks out there which enable you to do that.
And this is a great thing. Like you said, it's an industry that is supportive, encouraging, and you help each other, and you even work together. And some VAs have their own VAs, because some VAs don't like admin, so they'll get an admin VA.
Yeah, if you can become an associate VA, especially if you're starting out and you don't know whether you want to have a specific niche or work in a specific area, you could possibly become an associate VA and kind of dabble in different things. You're also learning, I suppose, some inside tricks from an experienced VA as well. And they're there to support you. You can learn from them. It's a really good way to kind of get your foot in the door and learn, which we are all still doing. We all still learn. We all need to brush up on our skills and things.
And it's like that with any industry as well. And that's a wonderful thing. So as because we've spoken before, but I am a confidence coach, and I have a couple of bits of confidence questions. But one of the things I'd like to know is, what does confidence mean for you? You personally, when you think about confidence, what does it mean for you?
For me, confidence would not be to doubt myself, not doubt my abilities, would be to walk in a room with my head held high, knowing that I could start a conversation and be listened to and not worried, or, if somebody judges you or doesn't want to know, don't take it personally. It's so whether that falls into the resilience, whether resilience and confidence kind of coincide is possibly, something that maybe needs to be explored, but that's what it means to me.
That's great. And yes, confidence and resilience do, work together. They sort of are like almost form a partnership in ways. And building your resilience, you build your confidence. Building your confidence, you build your resilience. So it's a great sort of, whatever this is, work together. The words just went out my head. So tell me about your confidence, where your confidence is right now.
So I am confident in my own abilities, if that makes sense. I know that I am able to strike up a conversation with somebody. I am confident that I have good customer service skills. I am confident that I'll be listened to, whether or not people enjoy what I say or, take it on board is something completely different, but then that's not down to me. I think sometimes I get a bit confused between confidence and happiness, because I'm in a place of employment, or self-employment, I should say, where I am happiest. That kind of makes me a bit more confident, and I think I'm happier when I'm talking to people and interacting with people and telling people what I do, as well as helping other people, So for me, maybe I'm getting confidence and happiness mixed up a little bit, but that's where I am in terms of those two things.
Interesting. So what blocks you in your confidence at the moment?
I think for me, it would come back to clients, the stumbling blocks of actually stepping outside of my comfort zone, putting that first step forward and introducing myself in case somebody says, actually, I don't need that at all. And that's again where the resilience comes in, isn't it? That I should be like, well, do you know what? That client doesn't need it. That's not to say the next 5 clients won't, or the next client 10 emails down the line won't. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one, I think.
But it makes sense. It's just hearing that no, and sometimes when we hear that no, I don't need that now, what have I done wrong? What have I said wrong? Or should have done it better? Could I have done it better? But like you said, it might just be, you know what, I don't need this now. I might need it later, or I might know somebody who needs it, but I don't need it. And it's just it's taking that emotion out of that conversation in a way. And
yeah, definitely. And it's like you said, it is about networking to a certain degree, and having if you've got the confidence to to put yourself forward, and step out onto that ledge a little bit, then it's like you say, one person might not need you, but they might know somebody that does need you. And if you hadn't have approached them, then they wouldn't have known anything about you anyway. So yeah, there's that way to look at it.
So, as I mentioned, I'm a confidence coach, and this is where you get to ask me anything about confidence.
Okay. Oh, wow. I would love to know how to not take things personally, and just how to become more confident in selling my services, probably so I don't stumble, and things like that, I suppose. For me, yeah, to be able to win new clients on confidently, and I think more assertively as well, would be great.
So the first thing you mentioned was how to not take things personally. And that comes down to taking the emotion out of the equation. So for example, if I come to your house and you say to me, oh, would you like a cup of tea? And I say, no, thank you. Would you take that personally, or just realize she doesn't want a cup of tea?
Yeah, exactly. I'd just take that as, no, she doesn't want a cup of tea. I'd probably offer you a juice or something instead, but
Yes, but this is what it is. When you're talking about your business, when you're talking about your services, you're offering a cup of tea to clients. Not everybody likes tea. Not everybody wants tea at that particular moment. But they might, so they don't want that tea right now. So it's not about you as a person. It's they don't want your service right now because it is they don't need it or have no use for it. So try and think about it as next time you approach somebody, imagine that you're just offering them a cup of tea.
Right, okay.
And then, so I'm Steph, and here's my cup of tea on my admin services. Would you like some? No, thank you. I've just had a cup of tea 5 minutes ago. I'm cool. Okay, great. No worries. When you're ready, okay, I'll put the kettle on, type thing. So it's not the emotion, because they're not saying no to you, Steph. They're saying no to what you have because they don't need it.
Yes, and when you put it like that, it makes so much more sense, to say, all right, okay, I'll go and put the kettle on in, I don't know, 10 minutes or 10 weeks, or whatever. Yeah.
And this is one thing when you go self-employed, and it's not just VAs, it's business owners. When you go self-employed, it becomes personal because it's your baby. Your business is your baby, and you get immersed in it. You don't separate your business from you. And this is why it becomes very, oh my God, they don't want my services. Oh my, it's all about me. Oh my, they don't like me. They don't want me. I'm not worthy. But it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with not needing what you have right now.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Good.
Yeah, it does. You're like, good, I'm glad. That's my job.
Sure.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
So you asked something as well. I'm trying to remember what it was now. I got excited with my cup of tea. You wanted to know, so it was about not taking it personal. So you've worked that out.
Mm-hmm.
Can you remember?
I think I had the packet of biscuits for that cup of tea already.
We're just all about the cup of tea now, isn't it? Very British. All about the cup of tea.
Yes, I mean, it was all about the clients, and building that relationship and establishing that first, the first connection, the interaction. We've said take away the emotion, stop taking it personally, which again will give you the confidence to keep on putting yourself forward and keep putting yourself out there. Yeah. So
building confidence it's a process. So it's a transition that you go through, and I often describe it as going to the gym. You go to the gym, you pick up a couple of barbells, but you don't see any muscles. You don't see any. It's like, oh my God, I've just spent 5 minutes lifting these barbells. Where's my muscles? Why can't I look like, if you're a bloke, Arnie Schwarzenegger? Why can't I go into Mr. Universe? I just did, 1 kilo barbell for 5 minutes. Come on. And that's what confidence is about. Confidence is about continuously. So you go to the gym every day. You start with that 1 kilo, then you go to the 5 kilo, then you go to 10 kilo, then you go up to the, up and up with the weights, and you're doing more. And then you start to see the results of it. And this is what confidence is. Confidence is a process that you go through. It's a transition that you go through continuous little steps. We mentioned resilience earlier, and it's about, okay, you know what, that client said no, they don't need that. Okay, that's fine. They know what I have to offer. When they need me, they know where I am. They might come across somebody, or they're just not for me. Okay, that's you going to the gym, lifting up your weights for 5 minutes. The next day, it's talking to somebody about a service that you have, and they're like, yeah, let me think about it. I'll get back to you. Okay, that's fine. And it's a process. It's a process that you go through. It's communicating with your clients. It's like you mentioned earlier, you have this client who, why are you taking Friday off? Hang on a minute. You only work 4 days because they think that you are an employee of theirs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it's having that communication. It's like saying, well, actually, I'm self-employed. This is my business. I help you with X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z has been done. Therefore, or I don't work Fridays for whatever reasons, or on Fridays I have a different client, whatever it is. And again, that's going down to the gym, lifting up those weights and building your confidence muscle, so to speak.
Would you say that you display confidence the more confident you become? Does that make sense? So a bit like people say that, they can see negativity and they can feel negativity in somebody, whether or not you display it through facial expressions, and that sort of communication. Would you say that confidence is something that you can display to others?
Okay, let me do a little something. My name's Natalie. I'm a confidence coach. I help business owners with building their confidence. Okay. My name is Natalie. I'm a confidence coach. I help business owners build their confidence. Which one is more believable?
Yeah, number 2.
All I've done is stand up straight. So whenever I'm speaking, so networking events, in the days where you met face to face, or on Zoom calls or anything, I tend to stand up because I've been speaking for 8 years. I'm comfortable standing when I speak, but It also helps me to stand up straight. And sometimes I even have the superhero stance.
Right.
With my feet slightly apart, hands on my hips, shoulders back. But you can do it when you're sitting. So if you're sitting, right? Now I want you to do what I did, but you're sitting. So I want you to tell me you're a VA like this.
Okay. So I'm Steph, and I'm a recruitment VA. Okay. So yeah, I'm Steph. I'm a recruitment VA, and I specialise in customer service and recruitment services.
Which one did you feel better with?
Yeah, definitely number 2. But I don't know whether, again, just having that smile or a different tone in your voice as well makes a difference as well. How you are delivering that conversation and that statement.
But also, when you're standing up straight or sitting up straight, you are clearing your lungs. Your chest is here, so you're not constricting your lungs.
Yes.
So therefore, you will automatically speak clearer. You will and I'm not talking about professional actors who can speak really clearly when they, like this, but they've trained their voice. But if you try speak clearly, hunched up, or when you're standing up straight, it just helps you to speak clearer, which means you're also in what they call a power pose, which means you automatically start to feel better. You try be unhappy, sitting up slouched and all crunched up and everything, and you try be sad, sitting up straight, shoulders back, and just looking out at the world. And these are just physical things that you can do which create a different impact.
Right, okay. Yeah, I think I might have to start talking on the phone, walking around up tall, and
watch your pose, watch the way you're doing. You can still feel nervous. You can still feel, oh my God, what's happening? But when you're doing it like this, it's almost like, okay, yes, you're nervous, but shush, I'm busy, I'm on the phone. And it can almost be like a kid, shh, 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 go away. But if you are on the phone and you're really starting to feel a bit worried, do the power pose. See how you feel. Put your hands on your hips. Stand up, put your feet slightly, hip apart, and just stand like that. See how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will start to you will start to physically look confident, but you'll start to feel confident. And you can still feel nervous. You can still feel unsure. You can still stumble your words, but it'll have a different impact than if you sitting slouched and letting the negativity get to you. And what this does is going to the gym with your barbells and just slowly building it up. Just because you're standing up straight doesn't mean, yes, that's it, I'm confident, boom, done. It just means that it's one step towards starting to feel confident. And what will start to happen, and you might not necessarily notice it until you look back, is you will then one day be standing there and thinking, hell yeah, I'm doing this. And you will automatically be doing it because it's become habit, and those little niggly doubts start to go away because you've now created your little muscle of confidence.
Right, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and I think, like you've said, you can still feel nervous, you can still stumble, but I think if you're building up your confidence, how you react to that stumble and fall is going to be slightly different as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes so much more sense.
So you saw me in the beginning when I introduced it. I forgot what I was introducing. It's the Virtual Hero series. It's like, oh. Now, 8 years ago, that would have totally floored me. But now I know it's just, ugh. It happens. I stumble over my words. I'm a public speaker. I've stood on stage once and I'm like, I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, people, hang on a minute. I'll be with you in a moment. Luckily, it wasn't too big a crowd. It was quite fun. But previously, that would have been me. I would have been done. Right.
Okay. Yeah. And I suppose how you've acquired that confidence over time and how you deal with that situation, has grown with your confidence and evolved with your confidence.
But I do still get nervous. If I'm speaking to somebody you have not met before, or I'm presenting at a networking and there's people there that I've not met before, I do get nervous. Hence, stand up straight. And quite often I have my feet apart. I quite often have one hand on my hips or sometimes both. Plus, I find it quite comfortable as well. And I do the pose because inside I'm going, oh my God, new faces, what am I going to do? But because I've done it so often, it's the nerves are there, but I know I can do it.
Yes, yeah. Okay.
Confidence doesn't mean that there's no fear. Confidence doesn't mean that there's no nerves. It just means that you know how to go through it and work through it without coming to a screeching halt and absolutely getting that fight or flight.
Yes, yeah.
So confident people still feel nervous and anxious and, oh my God, what am I going to do? And you ask any speaker, they can speak in front of thousands of people and be used to it, but they'll still be nervous.
Right, okay, yeah. All right. So nerves are okay. How you handle those nerves is, I suppose, something that you learn and evolves with your learning as well.
Nerves is because you don't know what the situation is. You don't know the people you're speaking to. You don't know you're meeting new people. You can be nervous to meet new people. But you know that you've done it before. You know that given a couple of minutes, you'll be relaxed and you will get into the conversation or whatever. So a lot of people put nerves as lack of confidence. It's nerves. It's just a new situation.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can be nervous going for an injection at the doctor's and it doesn't mean that you're not confident. So
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So those helped you a bit.
Yes, and I think definitely the power stance is something that I will be adopting a lot more. I already feel like, I've got a much straighter back, even just in that conversation.
Yeah. And working from home and all that has created a lot of sitting. Don't be afraid to stand when you're on a Zoom call or when you're talking to people. If you feel that you need to, don't be afraid of it.
Okay.
It's you can put computers on boxes or whatever if you feel that you need to, or just sit up straight. But you said you've noticed a difference just in this couple of minutes of us talking.
Yeah, I honestly feel like my shoulders are more, straight across. My back is a lot more rigid. I'm not saying, I've got a meter ruler behind me or anything now, but
next, we'll balance a book on your head.
But yeah, I think I definitely need to improve on those, and I wouldn't say it's a weakness. I think it's just an area to improve on, or to work on or to build on, whatever you want to say. And so yeah, I think everything that you've just said then makes so much more sense, and it makes it clearer hearing that, from somebody with the confidence experience, especially as a confidence coach.
This has been years of learning, but the thing is, you can help yourself just through doing these physical activity of putting your shoulders back, sitting up straight or standing up straight. You can help yourself on your confidence journey. You don't have to be confident to start doing that. You can start doing that while you're building your confidence.
Do you believe it's something that you can fake? I mean, you often hear the saying, don't you fake it till you make it. Do you think that confidence is something that a person can fake? Or
you can fake it to a certain extent. If you like the power pose or the standing and the speaking clearer is in a way faking it until you've made it. But if you can't just absolutely fake everything, because you might still be nervous, you might still stumble over your words and people can still see that you're nervous, but that's fine. That's okay. It's okay to feel that. And confidence, in some ways you can fake it until you've made it. It's a way that you bring in tricks in a way. It's bringing these little things to help you. It's like having an app on your phone to help you do a job easier or to access something. So and this is what these little tips help you with. It's like your app on your phone. It lets you do something quicker and easier. It's not the answer to it.
Mhm.
It just helps you with it until it becomes a point where it's actually habit that then it's not more, there's no more faking it, because now it's ingrained, it's habit, it's the way that it is.
Yeah.
And so there is an element of faking it till you make it. But if you're not improving, you can't just keep faking it, because then it becomes off as faking it.
Yes, and I think eventually at some point somebody is going to pick up on that, you know. So yeah, okay.
But it's
Sorry, I know
helping yourself get there is fine.
Yes.
But if you're not improving and you're just using the sort of the fake tools, not the fake tools, the tools to fake it, then it comes off as just faking it. So you also have to then be really lifting up those barbells and then getting the 5 kilo and then the 10 kilo and just pushing yourself forward.
Yeah, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I'm not saying that I am faking it to them, but it's just one of them things that kind of.
Yeah. So sit up straight next time when you're on a phone call, especially if it's slightly difficult. If you've got a new client, sit up straighter, you know, put your shoulders back, because you know your skills. You're confident in your skills.
Yeah, definitely.
You're just unsure of the building up with the clients. But that comes with time.
Yeah, and it's never like you're going to be, you know, you don't know what the client's going to say to you. You don't know what their reaction is going to be until you've spoken to them. They might want you, they might not need you at the time. So yes, that makes so much sense.
You're just offering them a cup of tea.
Exactly.
That's it. Not everybody wants tea.
No.
That's what it is. You're just offering them a cup of tea.
Okay. I shall definitely be bearing that in mind. In fact, it might even become my little slogan. I might even keep it on my desk. So when I am, you know, speaking to a new client, it's just a cup of tea.
Exactly. Yeah. Make it a slogan. Put it somewhere where you can see it. Take the emotion, the personal out of it. They're not judging you. They just don't need what you have.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So, what is the best bit of advice you've ever been given?
So the best piece of advice is to filter through all the advice that I am given and take on board what's relevant to me.
That's good advice.
Yeah, because so many people will inundate you with knowledge, which is great. You know, it really is. Some might not be relevant to what you're offering clients. So yeah, just to filter through the advice that you're given and pick out the bits that are, you know, and don't be afraid to ask as well. Ask questions.
Good. That is really good. Like you said, asking questions and take on the advice and take what you need, not just every bit of advice. That's really useful tips. And speaking of tips, what top tip can you give us today? Can you share with us today?
Write a to-do list. And as you're going through it, tick it off. Even if it's a post-it note on your screen and you're taking it off your screen, you know, it's a job done. But yeah, definitely write a to-do list in a notebook on a piece of paper next to you, you know, and just add to it as you need to. Don't try and remember everything, because you won't remember everything. And then you get to midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, you think, should have done that. If you've got it written down, you know, a good paper and pen, you know, a good bit of stationery is still key. Even with all this technology, you still need a good bit of
nothing beats post-its. Nothing beats post-its.
Exactly, mine.
So how can people find you?
So my website address is www.sjadministration.co.uk. Alternatively, I am on Instagram or LinkedIn as well. And so, yeah, drop me a message.
So you're on Instagram and LinkedIn. LinkedIn as Stephanie Humphrey.
Steph Humphrey, yeah.
Steph Humphrey.
And Instagram is at SJ Administration.
That's great. I just want to say thank you so much for chatting with me this evening. It's been great having you here, and we've been a bit longer than normal, but I think we've got excited with the confidence stuff. Oops.
I know. Thank you so much for having me on. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I really have. I've loved every minute.
Oh, that's brilliant. And it's been so great to have you here. And thank you for taking the time to watch this. As you can see, VAs are really great, and they're all different, as I'm sure you're beginning to notice. But do support the VAs, work with them, speak to them, find out about what it is that they can offer you and how they can help you. And again, thank you so much, and do feel free to subscribe and share this video, this podcast with anybody that you need to share it with. And again, thank you for your time. Take care. Bye.